Hello everybody, it's Rendon again. It's been 4 months. 4 months since I put out that last Dark Souls 3 Invasions video. I had jumped in to participate in a couple of different Dried Finger Run events from some creators in the community, and primarily just kind of played through that, created a couple of characters, and honestly had a pretty good time. And so I kind of naturally wandered back into Elden Ring again, partially because I just kind of wore myself out on Dark Souls 3. And I made a couple of builds there, and I wanted to test out and create a couple of things in Elden Ring. I've only made one so far, but we'll see about the future. There's no such promises about any kind of Tarnished Tongue runs occurring in the near future with Elden Ring, so I just kind of jumped in to participate and just see what I could make out of it. Also, I think the other side of it is, Tarnished Edition was announced to come out at the end of August. I think they're adding a couple of new classes with some new weapons and some new armor attached to those, and some other weapons and armor possibly scattered throughout the world, or maybe you just get them. I'm not really sure how that works exactly. But no new content really that I'm aware of. At least they haven't hinted at any new content, which is a little bit of a shame. I was kind of hoping for maybe something more along the lines of like an Elden Ring Scholar of the First Sin edition like you got in Dark Souls 2. Just because it's been so long since we've had any update on Tarnished Edition, and it seems like a lot of time and I don't know how much effort they put into it, but a seeming amount of effort for just a couple of pieces of armor and weapons. That seems like maybe they could have added a little bit more. The armor does look cool though, so I'm excited about that, and especially because also Dustbloods has been, I guess, technically announced. At least for the closed network test was announced, and they gave us like 6 new seconds of a trailer, which is not that much. I will be buying Dustbloods on Switch 2, but I understand people grumbling about Dustbloods and the upfront cost of having to buy a Switch 2 just to play it. I get it. For me, Dustbloods and the Switch 2 will just be Switch 2 will just be a Dustbloods box. But I'm not sure I want to spend the money to buy Dustbloods for a closed network test. I think I'll wait a little longer on that. But I guess I can talk about this character. His name is Elden the Saber. He's a Strength Arcane build, which should have been pretty obvious by the title of this video. I originally started this because I wanted to play with a Death Knight Long Haft Axe, but I strapped that pretty quickly. I do have it on this character, but even though it was probably my favorite weapon when the DLC first came out, it has not aged very well. Its Ash of War is pretty terrible for catching anybody, let alone a good player. I think a much better iteration of something like this would have been a Blink Bolt into like a horizontal slash instead of a big vertical jumping slash, which is so choreographed and easy to dodge that someone spamming roll and panic rolls can usually just get out of it, and that is not conducive to being able to land your Ash of War on somebody. But I digress. It is what it is. It's a beautiful weapon that I really enjoy, but besides just using the Blink Bolt to get in and out of bad situations, and maybe using the Blink Bolt into just a normal R1 for a mix-up, it's not that great. So I went with the Crescent Moon Axe on this build instead. And everybody who's played with the Crescent Moon Axe and likes axes at all knows that it is an incredible, incredible weapon. The only thing I liked a little bit more than the Crescent Moon Axe is actually, ironically enough, Godric's axe. But the stats on that are so prohibitive. I understand why nobody really wants to use it, and why people don't really want to use it, because I guess it's supposed to be a quality weapon, but it requires so much of an investment. And until I think it was maybe a year ago, I don't know how long it was, it didn't have hyper armor on its Ash of War, so why would you ever use it? Now it's a little better because you have hyper armor on the Ash, which just makes sense. I don't know why they didn't have that before, but has that same swinging R2 and an arc around you, which is what makes these weapons really great. I do have a couple extra tools on this build. Some bleed weapons, yes, it is a Strength Arcane build, but while on the Dark Tree Puppet, which was kind of the main inspiration for this build, I wanted to make a second iteration of it. Blood Iron Greatsword was the main weapon on it. This one, it is Crescent Moon Axe, and the Blood Iron Greatsword, the Claymore, and the Flamberge are just more secondary tools for dealing with passive players, large groups of players. I'll put it on to kind of chip down HP, especially in Seamless when everybody has a ton of flasks and a great rune and things like that, just to kind of switch in and out to mix people up and not let them get too used to just automatically rolling my running axe R1s and the R2s on that. Yeah, so the idea is, and the main thing on this build is two-handed Crescent Axe R2s, but what I'm really going for is two-handed running R1 into lightly tapping L2 on the Crescent Moon Axe, which has the Ash of War Wild Strikes, and just immediately chaining that into an R2. So the idea would be running R1 catches player first, just tapping the L2 for Wild Strikes, triggers a Hyper Armor Ash of War that then also clips them with that. But instead of holding it down to transition into the second part of the Ash of War, I'm pressing R2 before that engages. So I'm just doing the normal kind of sweep, the arc of the R2. So I'm, again, imagine this as running R1, quick tap of L2 for the swing around and the Hyper Armor. And when people trade into that before they can roll out, immediate R2 to catch them. And if they don't fall for all of that, then my hope is that that Vortex will at least catch them with one or two of those hits. And it's stylish and it's kind of cool to look at, so that's why I like it. I do have the matting hand in the offhand. On the Dark Tree Puppet, it was the poison hand, but I found nobody respected that when I hit them with it. So I thought maybe if it's Madness, even though it's a little bit harder to put on this build, they will respect it, and they don't. They don't care. At least the casual players don't care, which ironically makes them better against it than a player who understands what that Madness buildup can do and why they should respect it. Respecting it actually makes it worse to play against. So I guess the answer is don't respect Madness, but you should definitely respect Madness. And I also have the offhand Beast Claws, which is just a staple for builds with me. It is a very, very effective way using that distance creator on the L1 with offhand Beast Claws into any type of bleed weapon that I have. Excuse me. It does a wonder for building up bleed, finishing off hosts, or just mixing it up so they do not expect and they mess up their rolls and they start panicking because they hadn't seen that before. It's a great tool. I love it. It's a great setup. My favorite. Not great in the sense that it's like overly strong, but it's something that I really, really enjoy. I'm trying to think what other weapons I have on this. Because ironically enough, when I'm recording on computer as opposed to PS5, I'm just recording into a blank screen. I can't see what the footage is showing, so it's hard to react to, which I think is actually kind of a downgrade from PS5, but an overall upgrade on what I can do and the quality, I think, on PC. So that is what it is. I can't remember what the other weapons are right now, but you can see them on the screen. This character has, I think, a little less than 40 vigor, actually, but to make up for that, they have a Crimson Amber Talisman +3, which allowed me to put a little bit more points to get that faith I needed for the offhand matting hand, which you may wonder why I have that. It seems like a waste. You know, I guess from a pure utilitarian and efficiency standpoint, you could say it is, but I wanted to have it, and so I made the build work for it. There you go. 30 Arcane, which the Silver Tier Helm really, really helps out with that. I was able to save a ton of points because of that. I think it's 8 point bonus into Arcane, which allowed me to put a little bit more of, you know, my stats into vigor, a little bit more into stamina, that kind of thing. And obviously it should be 30 strength on this, but maybe it's a little bit less not looking at it, but regardless. The Blood Iron Greatsword is blood infused, obviously. Claymore is also blood infused, but because of the inherent bleed already on the Flamberge, that is occult infused. Why? I just wanted to make it occult infused, to have one occult weapon on a dark build. Or when I say dark, I don't mean dark in the sense of Dark Souls 3. A dark, edgy build deserves at least one occult weapon. And that has Poisonous Mist on it, so I'm getting technically 2 stats for the price of 1. The Flamberge is a beautiful weapon. Ugh, such a nice weapon. And the Crescent Moon Axe is just heavy infused because I wanted to be able to buff it with the Mesmer fire grease, which might be I can't remember, it might be a little bit better than the normal fire grease, but it just, the dart fire just looks, again, it's an edgy character. He needs edgy dart fire. It looks good on there. It's great. It's a great thing to put on there. Works very well. I was going to originally get the actual cookbook and farm materials to get pots on this build, and which would have been useful because I didn't even get the jar cannon on this. I have no range, so it would be great for me to be able to have something, but I've done all that in the past. I've collected everything, all the pots, all the ranged I need for most of these builds in the past in Elden Ring. I just don't feel like doing it anymore. If you're going to play to a point, you're smart enough to just keep your distance from me and not engage with me or hide in a place that I can't easily get to and just take pot shots at me, then you just deserve to win. I'll give it to you. That's fine. Or I'll just kind of leave your world, because I'm not here for that. I'm here to get into a fight, and that's what I want. If you're not gonna give me a good fight, I'm just probably gonna leave. I'm getting older now. I deserve it. I've done enough invasions where I've done the thing you're supposed to do, where you sit in the world and teach them a lesson. No lesson is going to be taught to anybody at this point like that. They're past lessons. And also, nobody has HP or Vigor in Seamless, so they'll probably die to a stiff wind or just any one of the beasties in Elden Ring in PvE anyway in the next 5 minutes after I leave. So it's fine. You do get some good fights in Seamless, though. I have had a lot of fun playing against players that have Vigor maxed and do have good weapons, but also weapons that aren't just going to blow you up in one hit. It has been a good time. When I started coming back, the first character I tried to make was on PS5, and really quickly I found out that it wasn't very fun. There's basically nobody, at least for me, I couldn't find anybody playing. People that I was playing, I came across crabshat gankers one too many times for me to be like, wow, these people just they never got past this. And it was pretty miserable. It was not a fun time. But Seamless, I remembered I'd made a character on there, so I went and tried it, and I knew it'd be a better time, and it is. There's just constant activity. It's so much fun. There's fun people to play against, people that are like me on there, I'm assuming, and it's just a good time. I'm still considering possibly doing some sort of Taunter Stun thing myself on there, but I don't have as much time as I would like to as a new dad. So that's kind of off the table for now, but we will see. I might do something like that in the near future. What else is there to talk about? I think I've talked about the build. We can talk a little bit about Dustbloods. I am personally looking forward to Dustbloods. I think it will be a very neat game, especially for what From Software is saying it is going to be, if that makes sense. Although I do understand the grumblings and the idea that it's kind of shitty. I can say that it's been 7 or however long minutes into the video now. Not that I'm monetized anyway. That it's only on Switch 2 and that no one else can get access to it, and that you have to really pay an upfront cost to get into that. I get it. But, because for me, Switch 2 will basically just be a Dustbloods machine. And whether that's a waste or not, I'll find out in time, I guess. But I think it will be a good bridge to whatever From Software makes next. And who knows? With as many game directors as they have now, I'm really curious what the next quote-unquote big From Software game is going to be. If that's just something that's strictly under Miyazaki, or if you're going to see something just as big, or several big projects, or several maybe medium big projects from a bunch of different directors. And then I'm assuming we'll know which one is like the next iteration of like the game, but maybe we won't. Maybe they might diverge a little more than that in interest and taste. I know I would personally like another, not strictly speaking Sekiro 2, but something like that formula. That idea is too good to just leave alone. And I know they've incorporated some of the ideas and some of the mechanics into the games that they've made past that, but I want another game like that. I want another story-driven, linear, just fun kind of button mashing, skilled button mashing, but button mashing time like that. That would be, I think you need to have another game like that. Man, it's too good just like that. that specific formula go by the wayside or just be melded into other projects. I think it can really, so other projects would benefit from some of those mechanics, but keep doing that. That's great. I guess this comes to Tarnished Edition. I'm not so confident in how good Tarnished Edition is going to be. I know I talked about it just a minute ago, but I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping it will drive a lot of community engagement again. I'm sure that on Twitch and at least in the community that I follow, it will cause at least several more playthroughs, maybe some Tarnished Tone events, most certainly at least some more invasion content, probably from Saint too. But how much will what they're offering really drive a resurgence in Elden Ring? I don't know. Maybe a lot, maybe not at all. But that's hard to say. It's impossible to say now. I'm sorry, excuse me. Our throat is getting very dry. But I know I'll be playing a little bit again at least. Just to do some invasions and participate in some of the events that I hope will be going down for a little while. And to that event, I might make some more builds for Elden Ring. I don't really have another idea right now. I keep wanting to make something with... I just have Mesmer's Orb in mind, but making anything at a lower level or a medium level with that spell and incantation is just... it's tough. I could go with something with no vigor, but I don't want to do that. So we'll see. We'll see what I make out of it. Maybe I'll make another purely melee build, but I do kind of want to make something caster-ish. I really want to lean away from spells specifically because I did that last time. I want to do something incantation based, but I don't know what I want to play with, so I need some time to think about that. Anyway, these are just for fun. I'm just doing Elden Ring Invasions for fun again. I might make a video or two here or there every once in a while, which you can enjoy. But I really appreciate everybody who still happens to give these a glance every once in a while, and hopefully I'll see some of y'all in Tarnished Edition and possibly Dustbloods after that, which, if it's something that I want to play, I probably will make content about it. Thanks, and I love y'all. Bye.